fly-infested wounds, skin infections, barely clinging to life. That's how we're starting this deep dive. And it's honestly where Lady Anisa's story begins.
Wow.
It's hard to imagine, isn't it? I mean, who would leave a dog in that condition?
It's heartbreaking, and sadly, it's something we see more often than you'd think, especially when extensive medical care is needed. Some people just see abandonment as the easy way out. But what's truly remarkable about Lady Anisa's story is her resilience, that spirit, that and her incredible transformation.
Oh, absolutely. The sources describe her as being near death, severe skin infections, her eyes were so infected she could barely see, and she was struggling to breathe.
It was really touch and go. And those were just the external signs, right? She was battling pneumonia on top of everything else, and those agonizing fly-strike wounds, they were just awful.
It's just, the vets really had their work cut out for them.
They did. Just stabilizing her was a huge task.
So they started her on antibiotics, medicated eye drops, ointments for her skin. It sounds like they were throwing everything they could at her, hoping something would stick.
It was all about giving her body a fighting chance at that point. And thankfully, slowly, she started to improve. But just when things were looking a little brighter, they got hit with another challenge. She was diagnosed with leishmaniasis.
Leishmaniasis. Okay, for those of us who haven't been to vet school, what exactly is that?
Well, it's a parasitic disease, actually.
Okay.
And it's spread by sandflies.
Sandflies?
Yeah.
I see. And how serious are we talking?
Well, it can be fatal if it's not treated.
Potentially life-threatening disease on top of everything else.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what they could even do at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the options?
It's a tough situation for sure. Treatment for leishmaniasis, it can be really rough.
Oh, I bet.
And with Lady Anisa's health being so fragile already, there were no guarantees. But at the same time, giving up on her, that wasn't really an option either.
No.
Of course not.
So it was a really difficult decision for everyone involved.
They had to weigh those risks and benefits really carefully.
Exactly.
And in her case, they decided to move forward with a medication called glucan-time.
Right, glucan-time.
I'm not a vet or anything, so I have no idea what that is, but the sources make it sound like this was the turning point for her.
Yeah, it was a big step. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. There were ups and downs along the way, but she responded to the treatment, and that's what matters.
That's incredible. It really is amazing how resilient animals can be.
They really are.
But you mentioned ups and downs. What kind of challenges came up during that part of her recovery?
Well, managing leishmaniasis, it's not a one-and-done kind of thing, right? It takes a lot of work, and it's a lifelong commitment. They had to try a few different things, figure out the right combination of medications, and get her diet just right. It was definitely a process.
So she gets through that initial treatment. They figure out a way to manage it long term. What's next for Lady Anisa? How does she go from this fragile fighter to the dog that we're reading about in these sources?
You want to know how she blossomed?
Yeah.
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Blossomed. So we're talking night and day difference. What happens when a dog who's been through, she's been through the ringer, what happens when they finally turn that corner?
Well, with Lady Anisa, it's like this whole other side of her personality came out. This dog who had every reason to be, maybe a little scared or hesitant around people. She just blossomed. The sources describe her as playful, affectionate, even a little mischievous.
So she went from fighting for every breath to demanding cuddles and maybe sneaking an extra treat or two.
That's her.
That's amazing. What else? What else stands out about her?
She's got this incredible zest for life. After everything, she still loves to play, especially chase. Oh, but she also loves to cuddle. And here's the thing, right? Despite those tough early days, she's got this goofy side, stealing shoes, hiding toys.
Classic dog stuff.
Exactly, just classic dog antics.
That's so great. It really does sound like she is living her best life now. But you mentioned earlier that, before she was rescued, she spent some time on the streets. So she must have learned a thing or two.
Oh, for sure. She's street smart, that's for sure. Very savvy, very independent. In fact, they actually let her off leash. She always comes back. She knows where she's supposed to be. This is her home. These are her people. Nothing is going to jeopardize that.
Wow. Lady Anisa, right?
Lady Anisa.
After everything we've learned, her resilience, that amazing spirit, her incredible transformation, it makes you wonder, is Lady Anisa the perfect dog for someone listening right now?
It's funny you should ask that, because when you read these sources, you see a dog who hasn't just, overcome adversity. She's thrived because of it. That playful energy, but she loves to cuddle. She's street smart, but she's also got that goofy side. She is living proof that resilience, it can lead to an extraordinary life. And not just for the dog, for their human too. So yeah, maybe, just maybe, Lady Anisa is exactly who someone needs in their life.
I have a feeling you might be right about that. And on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks so much for listening, and a huge thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.